Have you ever sat there after somebody hurt you and thought to yourself, how the hell did I not see this coming? Know that feeling. Today, we're going to talk about that. See, because betrayal doesn't just break your heart, it can really distort your own reflection, the way you see yourself, the way you thought you knew yourself. Especially when we're not rooted in who we are, it's very easy to start seeing yourself through the lens of the person that hurt you. And oftentimes, that's where the real damage begins. What if the deepest part of the wound is not even that they betrayed you, but that you stopped trusting yourself because of it? Oftentimes, the hardest part about betrayal is not what they did to you, but it's what you start believing about yourself afterward. As always, this one comes from experience and research, and I want to talk about the ways that we have all been betrayed and the things that it does to us, but how we can make sure that we don't allow it to change our self-perception. So with that, you know what time it is. It's time to get comfortable, grab something to drink, grab a snack. It's time to tune in and shift with me. Welcome back to the On Some Real Shift podcast, where I have real conversations on what it takes to shift your mindset and uplevel your emotional and spiritual life. I'm your host, Vanessa. I'm a certified life coach. I do mindset coaching. I'm an NLP practitioner. I do Reiki and sound bath healing, but most importantly, I am a student of the universe, or the university, as I like to call it. Welcome back, friends. So if you're watching the video version of this episode, wait, I only have video versions. So if you're actually watching the video, not just listening, you'll see I got comfortable today. I'm on my couch because I felt like it. So as per the intro, today we're talking about betrayal, and we've all been through it in some way or fashion, whether it's a friend, whether it's a colleague, whether it's a romantic partnership, a family member, something, somebody, or even yourself has betrayed you. And I think we oftentimes focus on the act of the betrayal itself, the violation of trust, the violation of boundaries, but we don't spend enough time thinking about the ways that it actually changes the way that we view ourselves, the way that we trust ourselves, on top of the way that it makes us feel. Being somebody who has been betrayed previously in my relationships, it took a huge toll on my self-esteem. It took a huge toll on me being able to trust myself. I started to think that I deserved those types of behaviors because they kept happening. Not realizing that with every betrayal, I was also knocking my self-esteem lower and lower because I was taking the way that they treated me as a reflection of my value or my worth because I had not built that myself. Like I have said a million times on this channel, years ago, I just had no clue who I was, what I was worth, what my needs even were. And so it was easy for me to really internalize other people's actions as a reflection of what I'm really worth. There are exceptions to every rule. There are nuances to every situation. But what I have realized is when somebody really betrays you and violates you, 9 times out of 10, it has very little to do with you. It's usually coming from deep insecurity in the other person, from fear, from just lacks of respect that would be received no matter who is on the other side of the behavior. As always, you're not alone in this. I have recently been through some betrayal and I'm going to talk about it. I will say that I noticed the growth because old Vanessa would have been questioning myself the whole time, like, oh, well, maybe I am not good enough. Maybe I'm not capable, worthy, blah, blah, blah enough. But because I've taken the time and energy to really focus on myself, building myself, my self-worth, really learning who I am and becoming firm and rooted in that, yes, it hurt my feelings and yes, it was upsetting, but I can say that it didn't make me question myself. In fact, it kind of made me turn my nose up and say, wow, I see this very clearly for what it is. As always, let's start by defining what we even mean by betrayal. Because it's not always just lies or cheating, right? It's really when our trust has been broken, has been violated by somebody that we did not expect to violate us or break our trust. It cuts extra deep when it's somebody that you felt safe with. Again, I find that the part that hurts the most is not the betrayal now, right? But it's with what you did with your truth because you trusted them. You start asking yourself questions like, how did I not see this? How could I be so foolish? And yes, sometimes there are glaring red flags that we choose not to pick up on because we're simply not ready. But I'm not talking about those instances. I'm talking about when you have every reason to trust when you should be able to be emotionally or physically safe with a person and then they violate that trust. It just becomes so mentally and emotionally distorting. If you really think about it, there is so much intimacy in betrayal. It's when you let somebody get close to you and then they violate the emotional agreement that you had. Maybe it looks like a friend who's talked badly behind your back. It sucks. It feels like crap. You're like, wow, I thought this person was my friend. And the whole time, they don't really like me. Or the common one, a partner who cheats on us or lies to us. They hide the truth from us in some way. We start to question ourselves and say, well, why am I not good enough? It could be a family member who uses your vulnerability against you, or when a mentor or a leader crosses a line. And yes, sometimes the betrayal is by self. When you stay too long or you silence yourself just to keep the peace, that is a form of self-betrayal. When you override your intuition because you want to believe someone, that is a big one for me. The part that cuts the deepest is not just the lie. It's what you did with your truth because you trusted them. This violation, this emotional or physical violation doesn't just hurt our hearts. It messes with your mind. You start questioning yourself. Like, did I miss the signs? Was I too much? Did I deserve this? And you might even start rewriting the story just to make sense of it. Can't tell you how many times in the past I have taken on the blame from the lie, from the betrayal. If you're not rooted in your self-worth, it has a way of shrinking you and slowly disconnecting you from who you know that you are. It's like looking in the mirror and not recognizing yourself because now you're seeing yourself through the lens of the person who fed you those lies, who fed you the betrayal. That's called mirror wounding, and it's real and it's dangerous. It's very easy to start associating your sensitivity with weakness and your desire to be loved with foolishness, or your trusting nature with stupidity. But I want to remind you, we all have the right to feel desired, to be loved. We all have the right to be able to just express ourselves with vulnerability and not have somebody take advantage of that. We should be able to place our trust in somebody and rest assured that they're not going to violate that. But that's just not how the world works. I really want to shift the narrative that being betrayed means that we're always being naive, because that's not the case. We should be able to trust those around us. What it means is that you were able to show up in love, and they didn't. You were able to show up in truth and in vulnerability, and they're not able to. And that's the difference. So I have to be careful about what I share because I never know who's going to see these episodes. But this week, I was betrayed in a professional manner by somebody that I never thought would betray me. I'm not going to get too deep into it, but I will say that my first reaction was that my feelings were hurt. And I was disappointed and a little angry. Long story short, somebody that I really, really trusted made some disparaging comments about me. And they weren't egregious in that this person is allowed to have their thoughts and opinions, but it's the way they went about it. I should have never found out about their thoughts and opinions about me in regards to a very specific professional scenario from anybody other than this person. It's humiliating. And it's humiliating, especially when it's somebody that you have gone to bat for at all times, especially when they're not around. It's somebody who is actually not very well received, unfortunately, but I'm not somebody who goes by what everybody else says or feels. I like to have my own experiences, and I chose to base my relationship with this person off of our experiences and the energy that I felt and what I was being shown. So when I tell you I was completely blindsided at what was said, I really, really, truly was. And that's the part that hurt. So yeah, yesterday I was pissed. I was angry, but I was also hurt. I was down. So what I did was I allowed myself to feel those feelings because they're valid. But what I didn't do is blame myself for not seeing their shadiness. Because when I dissected the situation for truly what it is and what it was, I was never shown the signs, ever. Also, what I didn't do is buy into their narrative. I asked myself the facts of the situation, and I had to have a very honest talk with myself. And when I compared the narrative to the truth, I said, no, I'm not buying into those delusions. I'm just not. And I'm sorry I'm being so vague right now, but like I said, I can't talk about it right now because I just don't know who's going to find this video, but maybe in a few months I will. So anyway, betrayal brings a lot of feelings to your body. It is very easy for your nervous system to go into overdrive when you're betrayed, when your trust has been violated. So I think one of the most important things that we can do when we realize we're being betrayed is to take a time out, not to focus on the betrayal. And it is so much easier said than done. Trust me, I know. But that time is a time for you to protect yourself. So how do we do that? First things first is to breathe. And I know that sounds cliche, but I'm being very serious. Breathe. It's about regulating your body, because what we don't want to do is then start making bad decisions, emotional decisions based on that betrayal. Ground yourself. Go for a walk, do breath work, cry if you need to, vent to a trusted person, journal, scream, curse, paint, whatever it is that you do to level set your nervous system again, do that. Because right now your body needs to feel safe again. We cannot make good decisions for ourselves or anyone else when we're in a dysregulated state. So that's what I did. I allowed myself to identify how I was feeling, and then I went to vent to some trusted people in my life. And that process of venting and talking through the situation and allowing myself to be angry, that for me was grounding in itself. Journal without any filters and ask yourself the hard questions. Did I abandon myself in order to stay loyal to them? Is there anything that I was afraid to see within this person or scenario? Are there any truths that I knew but still chose to ignore? And it's not about shaming yourself, but it is about identifying where the gaps are. And in that, we can reclaim our power. So you regulated your nervous system. You walked yourself through the hard stuff. Now what do? It's time to affirm the new narrative. Look at yourself in the mirror. Pull out your phone in a video. I don't care. But talk to yourself. Look at yourself in the eyeballs and say, I didn't deserve that. I'm still whole. And I still trust myself. I am allowed to trust myself again. And it might feel awkward at first, but I promise you, you're planting seeds of restoration. Be firm in who you know you are. If somebody says some disparaging things about you that you know for a fact aren't true, we've talked about this before. Flip the script. Change the story to what you know is the truth. I am not too much. I am not too loud. I am not lazy. I am a hard worker. I am great at what I do. I am kind. I am communicative. Whatever affirmations you need to tell yourself, depending on the situation, do that. And do it until you start to believe it. I've said it before, but our brains believe everything that we tell it. If somebody violates us, that's enough. We don't then also give them the keys to allow them to redefine who we are. And once you have created and affirmed the new narrative, step 4 is redefine your boundaries. And not from a place of fear, but from a place of love for yourself. Boundaries are your self-worth in action. We've talked about it before, but healing isn't linear, and that includes healing from betrayal. Some days you're going to feel strong and clear, and other days you're going to feel raw and triggered, and both are normal. It's part of the process. That's human. That's healing. Let's get a little woo-woo for a second, okay? Because if you've been here for a little bit, then you know that there's always a higher truth to everything that happens in our lives. Sometimes your spirit allows betrayal not to punish you, but to wake you up. Sometimes it allows that hurt to show you the parts of yourself that you have been dimming for the sake of others, to remind you of your wisdom and to redirect you back to you. Because here's what I know for sure. The people who have betrayed you, they were not just out of alignment with your worth, but they were out of alignment with your path. I'm not talking about making mistakes, right? We all make mistakes, but I'm talking about sometimes the breakdown is the breakthrough. I talk about it in my shift method, which is basically where self-awareness meets inner mastery. And this is where you realize, yes, they hurt me, but I get to decide what I do with that pain. And when you can take focused action from that place, you start transforming, not in spite of the betrayal, but because of it. Again, it's coming from a place of being rooted in who you are and really knowing your worth, loving yourself. Betrayal often acts like a mirror, and not of your flaws, but to the places within yourself that still need nurturing, that still need tending to, that still need healing, protection, or acknowledgement. Think about it. That person who gossiped about you, maybe they're here to show you that you often override your intuition to avoid confrontation. Ever thought about that? That partner who lied to you, who cheated on you, maybe they're just here to reveal how willing you are to romanticize their potential over the reality. That mentor or leader that crossed the boundary, that violated your trust, they're probably here to reflect to you, to take them off that pedestal, and to remind you not to give your power away to people that you admire. Every betrayal offers an invitation. Will you continue to abandon yourself to keep the peace, or will you finally choose you? Because when you sit in that pain long enough, and not to dwell, but to truly listen, you can start to hear your own voice again. You start remembering what you knew before you tried to convince yourself it wasn't that deep. You start to remember who you really are before the betrayal ever happened, but you do have to sit with the discomfort. Okay, so we define betrayal. We talk about what it can do to our self-concept, to the way we think about ourselves. And we've also talked about a little bit of the woo-woo and significance behind some of these betrayals. But we can't have this conversation without talking about our energetic boundaries. So you've been betrayed, you went through all of it, and now it's time for you to cut the cord, right? But there's more to it than just cutting off that relationship in theory or physically, right? We have to make sure that we cut that cord energetically also. Because a lot of times what happens is we might cut off somebody from our lives, but we are still emotionally entangled in them. So what's the point of cutting them off if we are still giving them our power, right? That's still a form of giving yourself away to somebody who's shown you that they don't deserve that. We do that by still replaying conversations that we thought we buried, still writing those text messages in our head, still wondering what we could have done or said differently. And that becomes soul depleting. So when you find yourself in those moments, I want you to take your hands, put them over your heart, and say, I call all my energy back to me. What is not mine, I release. I am whole. I am clear. I am free. And say it over and over and over again until you believe it. And essentially what you're doing is giving yourself the permission to release yourself from that emotional burden. It's going to take forgiveness. It's going to take forgiveness to the person that violated you, and it's going to take forgiveness within you to yourself, because your energy is sacred and it's not for those people who have mishandled it. It is for you and the version of you that you're stepping into. You don't have to lose yourself in the betrayal. You can simply rediscover who you are. I'm trying to use what happened to me this week as an opportunity to reestablish who I am, reclaim and reaffirm, like, no, you are really the bomb. You are so good at what you do. You're valuable, you're present, you're authentic. All of the things that I know about myself, I am taking this time to reaffirm those things and build a stronger version of myself mentally and emotionally. Because I'll be damned if somebody creates a raggedy narrative about me that they can't even voice to me. So if you're trying to heal from a betrayal, I just want to extend my love and peace to you. I know it sucks. But you don't deserve to be mishandled or mistreated or violated at all. And as you continue to allow yourself to heal from this, I want you to ask yourself a few questions. I want you to ask yourself, where did I lose pieces of me in somebody else's story? And what facts do I even have to back up their version of that story? Probably none. I want you to ask yourself, what truths did I quiet that now deserve to be heard? Ask yourself, how can I come home to myself unapologetically? You deserve trust, love, peace, and respect always, within your friendships, within your relationships, within your place of work, within your family. End of story. You deserve that. If this episode hit you in the heart, please share it, screenshot it, tag me, DM me, let's keep the conversation going, because you never know who needs to hear it. And healing is contagious when we let it be. If you're ready to go deeper and really heal from the inside out, you know how to find me. Coaching is open, and this work changes lives. As always, I really appreciate your time. I will catch you on the next one. Peace.